I want to look now at hiring a contractor and what that actually looks like and the process that I go through when I am hiring a contractor. So let's say we know our 7 tips for how to create our lead magnet. We outline it, we go through the process, we either talk it out or we write it out or we make a video, we make an audio, whatever it is. Let's say you get to that point where you have something tangible, but it needs to be edited and refined into that final product. This is where hiring some sort of a contracted employee comes along. Whether it's a graphics person, an audio editor, a video editor, a writer, whoever you end up hiring, everybody needs to outsource. I, in particular, really don't like doing graphics. Making things look good, making things look pretty is not where my strong suit is whatsoever. That is a talent that God did not give me. However, I can do function. I can make things work. I can do processes and procedures and workflow all day long. But making things look good is not where I excel in life. So I choose to hire out for those particular things. So if I get out of here and I go into Upwork here, and let's say inside of Upwork, I already have a job. That's perfect. You can also use Fiverr, Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com is another really, really good one. But let's look at Upwork, at least just for this example. So let's say I am going to post a new job, and it's entirely up to you what type of job it's going to be. You have to decide for yourself, what are the things that you like doing? What are the things that you don't like doing and you need to outsource? You might have a great outline, you might have a great starting point, but you're not maybe the best writer to put it all together in a cohesive way. So you want to outsource your writing. Maybe you're like me, graphics isn't your thing. You want to hire out a graphics person. Maybe you don't know how to edit video or you don't have the video editing software. You want to hire a video editor, whatever the case may be. So let's create a new job posting. And we're going to call this, let's just say we're looking for graphic design and PDF creation. Let's say you're creating a PDF. That's fine. We're basically doing graphic design at that point. We'll just call it graphic design and PDF creation. I like to give a little bit more of a description, so I would say for an an up and coming business, for an entrepreneur, for a health and wellness company, for a CEO, something like that, so they can get an idea of what it is that you want, what you're expecting, and who you are, who they are serving, essentially. And you want to tell them basically who it is that they are fulfilling this thing for, so that they have an idea coming into the project of who you are and what you want. So that's what I'm going to do. I would fill that out, hit next. Now, you might not necessarily know, and I didn't know at the time, do I want somebody who knows Illustrator or knows Adobe or knows all of this stuff? You don't have, if you know that, great. You don't have to know that. I simply said, I want a graphics design person. That was enough for me. It's not photography. It's not WordPress. I liked that. What are we creating? Logo. I think brochure, like let's say we're creating a PDF or we're creating an ebook, brochure would be a really good option. Infographic is not quite, although an infographic could be a really good lead magnet. Let's just say I'm going to do a brochure. Print design, something like that. Those are good options too. I want to create a new job posting. So graphic design and PDF creation for CEO of a wellness company, something like that. Whatever your particular business is. I would say, I always like to start out with some kind of a greeting. So hi or hello, I'm in the process of creating a new lead magnet for my business. I have everything written, but I need help putting the PDF together. So that's you. Now you want to talk about them. If you love graphic design, working on new projects, helping entrepreneurs succeed in business, and testing your, I'm just riffing on this, but testing your skills with new and interesting work, which is kind of the same thing as working on new projects, so you could even get rid of that if you wanted to, then you are my ideal candidate. So you want to talk about you first, and then talk about them. Next, I want to explain the project itself. So I want to create a 1 to 3 page PDF that I can give out to my audience as a lead magnet. Magnet. I'm never going to spell that right. Here we go. And then you can explain in more detail what it is. Like, let's say I have it outlined, but it's not written, or I have the whole thing written, it just needs graphics. You can also say, I have images for you to use, or maybe I do not have images for you to use. You'll need to come up with something, you know, some kind of an alternative, or you'll need to create those images on your own, something like that. You really just want to take a minute to explain what you want to do and basically the assets that you have to start off for them to work with. That's really the most important, is you want to explain where you are in the project and how they're coming in to help you. You can attach anything if you have images, or if you have like a snippet of what it is, you can even start to explain what it is. So I'm the CEO of a wellness company. Our lead magnet is, you know, about vitamins over the age of 40, or like the importance of taking vitamins over the age of 40. And we're going to share this everywhere, you know, on Facebook and run leads and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Next, once you get done explaining, again, who you are, who they are, what the project is, what the assets you have for the project is, now we want to get into requirements. So the requirements that I have is one. Oh, let's do it this way. In order to apply for this job, you must meet, and you can say all of the requirements, you must meet most of the requirements, some of the requirements, you must meet 2 out of 3, whatever you want to do. You must meet, I'll just say all of the requirements. So requirement number 1, you need to be within the USA or Canada. That's a pretty often one. You know, you must know Adobe Photoshop. A really good requirement would be some kind of a timeline requirement. So you must be able to deliver the final project within 2 weeks of starting this contract, something like that. A timeline requirement would be really, really good for them. Whatever your requirements are, keep listing it. And then at the very bottom, and I I will always do this either at the bottom of the post or somewhere in the middle. Don't put it at the top, but somewhere in the middle or at the very bottom, I'll put like asterisk, asterisk. In order to apply for this job, you must include, I don't know, something like wellness graphic in your, or yeah, wellness PDF in your job application. Your application will not be considered without this line. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Considered. And I do that because I want to know that they have read the entire thing. That's really important to me. There are a lot of people on Upwork, similar to the way that anybody else would do this. There are people on Upwork, people in the world who will see a job posting that is relatively or remotely related to what it is that they do for a living, and they will copy and paste a standard like resume, quote unquote, or a standard "hi, I'm interested in your job" type of blurb. They will send a pre-written cover letter that may not relate to your job posting in any way. And if that's the case, you really don't want to hire them necessarily. You know, they might be a great candidate and they might be really good for your job, but if they aren't taking the time to read your project information and to read your project description and to be prepared for what it is that you need, if they're not willing to do that at a bare minimum, then they're probably not going to go to any greater length to impress you when they actually work for you. So I use this as kind of an indicator of whether or not someone has read my job description. And I am very, very clear about what that is, and I do not consider anyone who does not follow those rules. Another requirement that I'll put sometimes is please send at least 2 example PDFs that I can read or that I can review in considering you for this project. Something like that. Upload attachments if you want. This can be, I would say this is going to be a one-time job, designing like we'll put lead magnet. If you want an ongoing job, like for instance, I knew that I hate graphic design, and not only did I want to hire a contractor that would create my lead magnet for me, but I wanted to use that as a starting project to establish a long-term relationship with a good graphics designer. That was my choice. That was what I wanted to do for my business. And so I put ongoing project, and I wrote in my project description, this is a one-time project as a way to initiate a long-term relationship with us working together. And I still have the same graphics gal that lives out of the US and is awesome at what she does. Where will this work be used? For me, it was my website. Where are you in the life cycle of this project? If you've gone through all of the processes and all of the modules and you've written and created up until this point and you're just looking to hire somebody who can put it all together and give you a final project or a final product, you should say that you have specifications and that they are going to create the design around it. Yes, I want to hire one freelancer. Let's say if we said freelancers in the US only, or if we want to say freelancers anywhere, we could even specify, I think we can specify additional like time zones or states, or we could say, Canada, US, Mexico, or, whatever your preference is, that's okay. Skills needed is kind of important, but not mandated. I wanted to specifically create a PDF for my lead magnet, and so Adobe Photoshop was important for me. Graphics design was important for me. If any of those stand out to you, feel free to add. If none of them stand out to you that you know for sure, I would just leave it blank. Do you want to pay by the hour or do you want to pay by the project? So if you want to pay by the hour, the hourly rate is up to you, depending on how much you value that person's skill and how much you're willing to pay for it. If you want to do a fixed priced project, same thing applies essentially, but maybe in your project description, here, you would tell them, here is exactly what I need. Can you give me a rough estimate on how much it would cost for you to do this? Or you could say, I have this project, this is what I need to do. I'll give you $100 to make it happen, and you can bid on it. You can bid on the project. Here, I always like saying only Upwork people can view this job. If not, I've never tested it to find out where in the ether it actually ends up, but I always just like to say only people on Upwork can find this job. I don't have a particular freelancer in mind. I don't have any qualifications. The only question that I would ask them would be, what do you need from me to get started? And then maybe add another question like, can you send me examples of stuff you've worked on in the past? We want the cover letter to be required. Yes. There's my business name. We can boost if we want to. If not, that's good. And then hit post job. Now, I want to show you how do you actually weed out good candidates from bad. And I have a job posting. I'm actually looking for a new web person. If you know any, send them my way. But I'm looking for someone who works in WordPress in the Divi theme, which is what my website is built off of, and someone who can just kind of do like general tasks for me. And luckily, we've got about 25 new proposals that we can look through as an example on how to eliminate people. So let's check it out. All right. So there are a couple of ways that I go about weeding people out, and I have a hierarchy for how I do it. The first hierarchy that I look for is I have a couple keywords in my mind of who I'm looking for. In this particular instance, WordPress is a keyword for me. Divi, which is the theme that my website is built off of, Divi is also a really big keyword for me in this instance. And then I might see something else that stands out. But the keywords would be the very first thing that I use, the first criteria that I use when I'm weeding out people. And the way that I do that is I would say, okay, this person knows WordPress and Divi, they're definitely an interest for me. This person knows WordPress, but not necessarily Divi, so they're like 50-50 right now. This person knows Divi theme specialist, I like that. I also look, when I'm looking at their title, this person knows WordPress. That's good. This one, iOS, Android. Please find the Divi. See, okay, so this person doesn't say that they specialize in WordPress in like their job title, but he's written, please find below the websites that I've built in the Divi theme. So that's like a maybe sort of indication for me. He still said Divi, but it's not something that he advertises as his job title. So web and app development, blah, blah, blah. I don't see anything in there, so I'm going to give this guy a no. Examples of working with Divi, web developer, okay, that's a maybe. WordPress expert, Kajabi. WordPress, Kajabi, and Squarespace are kind of three different platforms, so I am a little bit leery of someone who says that they are experts in all three. And also, I don't see anything about Divi in the first line, so this guy's gone. WordPress developer, that's good. Bilingual websites, yeah, nothing about Divi in there, but he says WordPress, so he's kind of on the fence for me right now. Show more, and then I'll keep looking. So I go through and I look at my keywords first and foremost. Then I come back up here and I want to look at their job success. So here's somebody with 100% job success. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty impressive. And he's earned over $10,000 on Upwork. That's pretty impressive. Same with this person. 96% success, earned over $50,000 in Canada. That's pretty awesome. You're also going to maybe take a little bit more time for somebody who hasn't really done any of this type of work, or you might want to really get on the same page with them before clicking that hire button. 100% job success, that one's really good. This one doesn't have any ratings, so that's a little bit concerning. She's also only $8. Like anything below 10, like I mean $10 for WordPress work is still really, really cheap. But anything below that kind of raises an eyebrow and makes me wonder, is this person really, are they legitimate? Do they really know their stuff if they're charging such a low rate? This is kind of an eyebrow raise for me. And she said Divi, she said website builder. And so I would go in and look at these websites and look at the examples that she had. This person is $0 earned and 0%, but says WordPress, but didn't say Divi, so I'm going to give him a no. And then I would go through and run that criteria. Then my next criteria is in this job description, I asked, please send me examples of websites that you use Divi that I can see as previous projects. And I would go in and I would look at their past work and I would decide, okay, this website isn't so great, they're a thumbs down. Or maybe this person hasn't earned any money, but they've made good websites in the past. Okay, I could justify giving you a chance. And you just kind of go down the list from there, and then you determine, well, maybe $45 an hour is a little high, maybe $10 an hour is a little too low, so 15 is pretty good and has 100% job success, or maybe 14 is decent and I can try them out, 18 is a decent hourly rate, 13, etc. So $4 an hour, that's another eyebrow raise of, are we sure this person is really good if they're only charging that low amount? I don't know. Maybe they are really good and I can save a ton of money, but I want to see their work first. That is basically my process of how I determine who I'm going to work with.